Oh, this is Bragi. I'm having a walk out today and I thought I'd do a bit of an update on the channel. We could talk about what's been going on. I've had a little bit of a break the last month or so. I'm sorry about that, but I am trying, whilst not stepping in a big puddle, to upload some more videos soon. I've got a wet sock now. Lovely. So how you all been? I hope you all been fine and keeping dandy wherever you may be on this Middle Earth. Oh yes. Let me just get past this next bit. Yeah. So I've been okay. I've been, busy working behind the scenes, and I've had a lot going on in my life as well, which is something I don't want to talk about at the moment, but a few of my friends on the channel do know. Yeah. But overall, things are very positive. I was looking at our social blade predictions for 5 years the other day, and they're currently at 60 million views and 114,000 subscribers. So, another 5 years hard work and we will get there. Thought I'll show you where I am. There's a nice lake. I'm in Allestree, named after a tree, or Alistaire's tree, something like that. I forget. I'm going to do a video on that. Because I think the place names and the name of places is a fascinating subject. So let's just walk on a bit further. It's raining slightly. It's a Friday, the 24th. And of course the 24th is a very big day for one person in the world today, for a certain Charlie Salvador. And you don't know who Charlie Salvador is? That is indeed Charlie Bronson. So I'm trying not to get my foot wet, but I am wearing a pair of decent Wranglers. I'll show you a little bit in a minute. We'll pan down. You see my feet. Wrangler shoes. Oh yes, very good. So what else has been going on the channel? Well, behind the scenes, Thomas, or Eirik, as you all know him, has been making more content for me. So that's cool. And I do have an exclusive right here for you. I have some news on our very imminent Egil Thorsson. The other day I was in Derby and I knocked on his door, and the little chap, the Viking, answered the door and invited me in. And we had a good little chat about life and how's he's been. And he says hello to everybody. He says that he's fine and groovy and he's looking forward to coming back on the channel, but for the while he's had a very bad foot and it's been very badly swollen, and somehow in the last 6 months he's lost my number. So I'm glad I went round and saw the mighty Egil Thorsson, because he is indeed a dude. So good news. So a few more months, let his foot heal and I can start filming with him again. So yes, the mighty Egil is returning. Here's a little place there for fishing. They do like to promote fishing around this lake, and whenever I come past there's always a few fishermen. It's a very old hobby, and essential in the old days to supply your food. And it just makes you think how they would have fished back in the day. Well, they would have used line with hooks and also the net. Fishing nets was also a thing. And if you ever seen anybody work on a fishing net, repair one, it's a fascinating and wonderful experience. Now I'm currently at a very muddy area, so give me a minute as I transcend and try not to get too muddy. Yes, here's another nice view of the lake. I'll turn the camera about for a second and talk in the background. Oh yes, can you imagine a load of long ships on that? They don't go very far, but I'm sure you agree. I hope not padding too fast there. That's a rather nice view. Back to Bragi. So what do you think about these update videos where I go for a walk, around the local wood or somewhere else nice? Now that I've got a car, I can get out a little bit. Yes, I remember this little place. There's a nice old wall down here, and I've sat down there a few times and had a beer or two. It's a lovely, lovely wood. It's a very big park actually. Yes, I do like having a good walk in nature, because when you're a bit stressed and you got things in your mind, and or you just want a bit of a chill out time and escape from reality, having a walk in the wood is a very good idea. And it makes you think how long we've been doing that as humans. there you were back in your cave tens of thousands of years ago, and you're getting a bit stressed out because the woolly mammoth you're trying to hunt has escaped. So you go for a walk in the woods and hope you don't get eaten by some saber-toothed tiger. Talking about tooths, I am missing a tooth. I've had that missing for a good while. That's because of Viking re-enactment, and I knocked it out. Oh yes. So, is it a good idea to wear gum shields during Viking re-enactment? Well, personally, I've never done it. I've seen people that do wear gum shields, but I think it'll just get in the way and be a discomfort. So we'll carry on. I know it's a little bit shaky, and I'll try to stabilise this in the edit when I edit this at some point. And I'll try to put it out at the weekend. Weekends are by far the best time. Yeah, so what a crazy world we've been living in the last few months. I mean, the war with Russia and Ukraine is heating up. I'd predict they'll be having aircraft at some point very soon. I'm just waiting for the tanks to start rolling in. It's a fascinating conflict, but I just feel so sorry for all the people affected by it. And I do know 2 people over there fighting. So I wish them luck, and they have my love and support on their side. Now I'm going to go through this wooded area now, because there's a massive woody puddle, and I'll show you something a bit strange in this wood. So, what's all that about there, look? You get very strange things happening in this wood. And there's a den down here. You get people come down here and they build little dens. I'll show you this little den. That's probably a year old or 2. It's probably the local youth, kids. It's what we used to do when I was a kid, back in the 1980s. You could go in the local wood and make dens. Oh yes, what good times. You just have to bear with the unprofessional camera angles at times. I should have brought a selfie stick out. I'm trying to get off a log there and not fall in a puddle. It's been very muddy and very wet this week. In fact, a couple of hours ago it was very dark and dank. You know, that's an old saying, isn't it? Dark and dank. Oh yes. But I do love rain. I think the best time when it's raining is walking through a wood and listening to the sound of the rain falling on the trees and the branches and the leaves. You know, just take a second and listen to the peace and quiet, and remember that, you know, there is harmony and peace and quiet. Kind of my favourite saying about that type of thing is, go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there is in silence. A very famous poem. I might actually do that on camera. Yes. So what else have I been working on behind the scenes? Well, I've been working on writing scripts. It's something I've never really done before on the channel, and I've figured out how to use a teleprompter. So what I need to figure out now is how to use a teleprompter on my tablet and have that up in the sky. I think that'll be quite a good idea. So yeah, so you will be seeing some more videos with, you know, and any subject you want me to cover and write scripts for. I am partly using artificial intelligence to help me write them, but you got to read through them because they get things wrong. Just artificial intelligence, you know, it's artificial but sometimes dumb intelligence. I can give you a very good example over that. A few weeks ago I was writing a script on the Battle of Stamford Bridge, because we all know about the famous Viking with the Dane axe, who shall remain nameless. Oh yes, God praise that man. You know, by the gods, he was a mighty warrior. But you know, it makes you think, you know, was he a tall fella or short fella? He must have been very good with the Dane axe. So I was asking ChatGPT to write me a script and information about the Battle of Stamford Bridge, and it came up with the Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1915. I think somehow that is massively wrong, and I will do that video as an example of, you know, artificial intelligence getting things wrong. So yes, next time I do this, I'll have a little selfie stick. I've not long brought one for this very occasion. So now in the middle of a big field now, so it may get a bit shaky, so just bear with me. But of course, back in the old days of Viking time, you wouldn't have seen grass like this. You would have seen natural grass fields with very tall grass and weeds and all the flowers. This is definitely not authentic. But they are gradually rewilding this park, which is a bit of a controversy in Allestree, where I live. I'm currently in my local park, so we're going to have a walk through the woods. I'm less likely to meet people and feel embarrassed about filming on camera whilst walking. Something I'm not really used to a degree. But how are you liking this idea and concept on the channel? Is this something you welcome? Would you like to see me doing this every week? That's not a massive problem to do, so let me know. And we can talk about many subjects of history and nature. This is a very nice wood I'm in. There's some nice silver birch in the distance, and it's getting that time of year where you can make nice silver birch wine by taking the sap out, but it's not an easy process if you don't know what to do. I've done it a couple of times in the past, but I don't really have any silver birch trees in my garden, but I do enjoy silver birch wine. Now we're coming up to a bit of a wood where there's lots of piles of sticks. It's either the local youths putting them together, or when they go around doing chainsawing in the woods, it's the workers putting them together. It makes you think though, you're going through woods 1,000 years ago, and woods in those days were managed and coppiced. So you would have seen piles of dead wood, logs and all sorts. I'm looking forward to getting back in, having a cup of tea. What do you like to drink? Tea or coffee? I like coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon. Now we're coming up in a minute to a very big den. We'll have a look at this. Oh yes, makes you think, how long us humans have been going out and making dens in woods. I'd imagine it's been a long time. You can hear the sound of the birds, the rustling of the leaves and the trees. As I slowly come up to this den, but I'll show you from this angle without blinding you with the sunlight, and go back to me and we'll swing round and I'll have a look in. Yeah, I must say, just turn my camera around, that's not a bad little den really. It's probably fallen down over the last year or so. Even got carpet. I mean, if you're lost in the wilds, you could kip under that and you'll be warm if you've got a good cloak or a modern sleeping bag. Because the Vikings did have a type of a sleeping bag. It was basically two bits of fur sewn together with the fur on the inside, and they'll sleep in those little bags. I sometimes think whether they'd be made out of leather, but I think leather wouldn't be so warm of having a fur-lined sleeping bag. Never made one, would love to, but I imagine you need quite a bit of fur. Probably reindeer or deer. No, not deer, sheep. Yeah, sheep or reindeer. Not cheap. So I never made one. I've always wanted 4 bits of fur from a deer to make an Iron Age cloak, but so far I've only got one. We'll carry on walking. So what have you been up to this week? Have you been anywhere exciting? Last night I went out with my neighbours to a local pub called the Hollybush, and I had 4 lovely pints, and one of them was from Orkney, and indeed was splendid. Proper Orkney Viking beer. Now apparently in Orkney, if you go up there and you call them Scottish, they'll get very hardly offended because they're not Scottish, they're from Orkney people. And the same with Shetlanders. If you went to Shetland and you called them Scottish, well, you'll be told off and said, we're not Scottish, we're Shetlanders. I've never been to Orkney, and I've never ever been to Shetland, but I'd love to go. So we'll carry on. I think next time I do this old video in the woods having a walk, I'll try to carry a selfie stick. And this morning I did a load of weights, you know, pull-ups and on my dumbbells, so my arms are pretty knackered. I do weights most days, and I have generally one day of a week, Sunday. But some days you forget to do them. And if you don't keep up with pumping the iron, you're not going to keep strong, are you? So this is a very natural bit of woodland, I'd say. So I'd imagine if you go back 1,000 years, it'll look like this. Like I said, it'll be probably better coppiced and the trees will be better managed. This has just been left to rack and ruin, and nobody comes in and coppices these woods, which is a shame. And a lot of these woods used to be overgrown with rhododendron, and you'll see in the distance the greenness, that's rhododendrons. We'll walk up there, I'll show you. But they do take over and they end up with like a rhododendron jungle, and they're not easy. If you ever walk through a rhododendron patch, it can be challenging. I'm going to swap arms with my arms getting tired. Yes, I'm not as fit as I used to be, and I need a shave. So how are you liking some of the content we're putting out on the channel? Sorry I've not been putting out a lot of videos. I'll try to put out some more shorts. I do have the full version of the Havermill to publish, and I got a video which has not been published already from Eirik, who's doing a video about what's in his pouch. Yes, what is in Eirik's pouch? If you want to find out, watch that video. I'm barking up the wrong tree there. It makes you think though, when you're out doing this, people must think you're mad. I watched a guy, his name's Ward, last name. I can't quite remember the name of the channel. I rubbish at names. But he does a walk and talk every week. So would that be something you would like to see on the channel? And this is a very random video, lots of random subjects. I don't plan to talk about what I'm going to talk about. We're just going to see. Ah, look at this I found. I found some mushroom. That's a fungi, that is, and you can use that to sharpen your knife, and you can dry that, and that will make a very lovely bit of fire starter. In fact, I got a bag. I think I'm going to have that. So oh, that's my hand. So bear with me. Sometimes when I go in the woods, I'll take a bag with me and I'll bring back mushrooms to dry, to put on the fire, because they do make great fire starters. In fact, I didn't bring a bag, so never mind. We'll leave it to the gods. But I got a couple of bags worth. Right, onwards we go. I'm going up a slight slope. I'll just show you. That was a very fast pan. Sorry, apologise for that fast pan around. That's when you see bad YouTubers, when they go up and down like that. Auditors are terrible for that. Really are. If you watch audit channels, very shaky and all over the place. I'll try to stabilise this. Ah, see, here's another one. Let me just show the camera around. That's one on its surface. So you find them on silver birch. There's two there actually. So these are great. I can't remember the Latin name, but and they'll stay out here and they'll last like that for ages. So very good stuff. You get a lot of BMX bikers down here, not in this bit of the wood, but the further bit. And it's quite windy as well. It's been an odd day today for weather. We've just had a very nice sunny patch, but it's been very cloudy, raining quite a bit. But I do like having a good old walk in the woods. It makes you think, you know, I'm wearing a nice modern jacket. It's a bit wet at the back where I got soaked, but how comfy. But it makes you think how great Viking clothing was at stopping rain. I'd imagine wool and linen would have got soaked, so that's when you want a good leather cloak. Thin leather, not too thick. You can hear, if you just listen, you can hear the sound of the carrion, the birds, the blackbirds and the crows and the ravens. 1,000 years ago, if there was a battle up here, they'll be picking off the meat of the dead flesh from the bones. If not been gnawed back by the wolf. Oh yes, don't forget in those days we had wolves and all kinds of wild creatures and bears. Yeah, I would not like to meet a bear. Now in Derbyshire, South Derbyshire, probably about 30 miles, 20 miles from me, they've released some beavers. And I was thinking earlier, because I do love a bit of beaver. You know, beavers are wonderful. I'd love to go down there and film it. You know, so perhaps, you know, we'll go down and make a video and talk about beavers.